So good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today to our training activity on media and information literacy and introduction to internet etiquette. So I hope you're all safe and healthy as we speak. Again, hello. My name is John Leonard Latido. I am a third year AB psychology student of the University of Southern Mindanao, and I will be your facilitator for today. I think it would be better if we or if you introduce yourselves to each other. Is it okay? So let's start. You may start by stating your name and followed by any information you want to share about yourself. And to relate it to our topic, you may mention the social media apps you use and the social media platforms that you use. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's start. Who wants to start? Laddie Ann, can you start?
Good morning. My name is
Morning.
Ladian Tobulero, student from University of Mindanao, and I hope to learn and I'm looking forward to learn on your discussion today. Thank you.
Do you have any social media accounts or do you use social media?
Yes po.
What are those? Is it okay if you mention them?
Um I am using Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay. Thank you so much. Kenneth, Cindy, introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, guys. My name is Cindy Simon, 22 years
Okay.
old, and currently I am employed in a BPO company. That's all. Thank you.
Is it okay if you mention the social media apps you use? Or do you use one?
Yes. I use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Ken. Next. Yes, Dominic. Okay. So you're Dominic Portia Maglangit. You said you're a netizen. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's proceed to Randolph Ampal.
Hello everyone. Good morning. I am Randolph Empal, 40 years to BS and Management Accounting student from University of Mindanao, and frequently use Discord, Telegram, Messenger, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay, thank you so much, Randolph. Sophia Loren.
Hello everyone, I'm Sofia Loren Berha, a management accounting student from University of Southern Mindanao, and I use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay, thank you so much. Danica.
Hi, hello, good morning everyone.
Hello.
I am Danica Panya from Ateneo de Davao University. I study BS Finance and the apps I use are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay, thank you so much, Danica. Okay, so thank you so much for introducing yourselves, participants. Moving on. So the theme for today's training activity is netiquette, making cyberspace a safe and healthy place. So this 21st century, things seem to be changing faster than ever, and life feels increasingly complex and fragmented. We could be at peak complexity, but I think that life will, and in fact, soon simplify. We are currently mid-phase between two eras, the pre and the post-digital age. And with the overwhelming information and digitization that simultaneously unfold before us, how has life been? This is a question for all of you. How has life been? How did technology shape us? So there are times when we need to reflect and assess our engagement with the virtual world. And I think now is the perfect time. So this activity will be conducted to encourage you, the participants, to know proper online practices and observe digital safety. This will make you aware of social media etiquette, essential to enhancing your social media experience. Hopefully, by the end of the session, we will meet the only objective of this activity, which is to introduce to you the basics of netiquette. Now, if you have checked the invitation and the program I sent you, there I indicated that we will be having a couple of activities, a lecturette, and an open forum after. I just personally hope that we will make this chance and time worthwhile. Moving on, the house rules. So I expect that everyone in this meeting will follow these rules. One, respect whoever is talking. That's understandable. Two, participate, ask questions, and speak so everyone can hear you. And lastly, and the most important, learn and enjoy. So to warm things up, we will first play Rebus Puzzle Brain Teasers. The mechanics are a rebus is a picture representation of a name, work, or phrase. And I will be showing you Rebus Puzzle Box, which portrays a common word or phrase. All you have to do is to guess the word or phrase. And anyone in this meeting can answer the puzzle. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, ate.
This Rebus Puzzle Box is anyone can answer. What does the picture represent?
Ay, wala sang may maka-answer. May mali.
Love? No, it's not love, Danica. But it's
Diagonal love,
close, close to
ate.
the answer. It's a phrase, actually. It's a three-word phrase.
Square love.
No?
Framed love. Diagonal framed love.
No. Okay, the answer is falling in love. The answer, ate, is falling in love.
Ah, okay.
Okay, the next puzzle.
I
Participate lang,
thought it's
ate. Char.
distant
Huwag ka pang
love.
threaten.
Precipitate.
Precipitate. The next puzzle is
The more you give, the more you
Forgive
get.
and forget. Forgive and
yes, Daddy, and
forget.
it's forgive and forget. Kenneth, you're wrong. Sorry.
Damo manabi ang gift is, o kung damo ang give, di ba? Para na lang says, the more you give, the more you get.
But the answer here is forgive and forget.
Mali na siya, te.
Next, we have
Try to understand.
Try to
Charot.
correct,
understand.
Daddy, and it's try to understand.
Ay, dugay-dugay ko naka-answer. Dagday.
The next puzzle.
Rising economy.
No, but close.
Growing economy.
Yes, Dominic Portia, you're right. Growing
Flourishing. O, ano
economy.
pang adjective dara?
It's growing economy.
Mali ako na answer. Naku.
Next puzzle.
Invaders.
No, Danica, it's not vendors. Dominic Portia, no, it's not vaders. Invaders.
Invaders.
No, it's not invaders. But close. It's not lavender, Danica. Sorry.
Wonderwolf. Charot.
No?
Ano, teka ng ng
Invaders.
mali ganun.
No, it's not invaders.
Nagpa-coach ko tiki. Ay. Dapat makasabat ko diri. Pwede.
Anyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is Space Invaders. Next puzzle.
Between jobs.
Job.
Ay,
Inside job is wrong. Between jobs, almost. Almost.
Inside jobs.
No, it's not inside jobs.
Between jobs. In between
No,
jobs.
it's not. The answer is in between jobs.
Oh,
Correct.
diba? Tama ako.
Cindy Simon, congratulations.
Pinapray mo sa...
Next puzzle.
life starts
Not easy
after
as counting
40.
1, 2.
Almost, Dominic
Life
Portia.
begins at... Huh? Life begins
Again,
at
again.
40? Life
The
begins at
answer
40?
is life begins at 40.
Mga linyahan na bitang ni Heaven.
Congratulations.
Ni Heaven. Mga linyahan ni Heaven ng mga... Life is not easy as counting 1, 2, 3. Mga...
Next puzzle.
everything.
No, it's
Good
not.
morning. Everything is anything dama ni Danica.
No, Danica, sorry.
Dan wala ka sa
Try again.
microphone. Hindi pwede. Dapat ka microphone.
It's a 3-word phrase. Anyone? Who can guess the correct answer? Okay,
Sire.
Ladian. Okay. The answer is
Ready?
ready
Ano,
for
aral na
anything.
sa akong mind, ate.
Wow.
Mali. Ready for anything.
I think this is the last puzzle.
Introvert.
No.
Quite
Quite
right.
right.
Yes, the answer is quite right. So that's it for our warm-up activity. Now let's proceed to the main activity. Our main activity is called Bananagram. Here are the mechanics. So the Bananagram is an anagram puzzle game that uses a word or phrase that is formed by rearranging the letters of another word or phrase. So words and letters to be formed when rearranged are related on the topic of netiquette. And this is a timed game, and 5 minutes is given to every group to answer all the puzzles in their chosen set. This is called Bananagram because participants have to say the word banana after they say their final answer. There is no limit on how many attempts they make as long as they still have time. They may pass and return to the puzzle if there is still remaining time. 1 point is given for every correct answer, and the group with the highest points wins the game. Now, I will be dividing you into two groups. Did you understand the mechanics?
Yes, ate.
Okay. So the first group will be the group of Kenneth, Randolph, and Sophia. The second group of Danica, Lorene, and Dominic. Okay? So the group one, the group of Randolph, Kenneth, and Sophia. First, where is Randolph, Kenneth, and Sophia?
Present.
I'm here.
Okay. Kenneth, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You are the first group to do the activity. So you have to choose among set A, set B, and set C and D for ABC or D.
C.
Randolph
A.
chooses C.
A ako ba?
Sophia.
B ka, Sofia. Sina kay love ko man si Randolph.
Okay. Set C. I will be giving you 5 minutes to answer this set. Are you ready?
Yes,
Ready.
naman.
Remember, the words or the answers to these puzzles are related on the topic on netiquette. So your timer starts now. First puzzle.
Ano ang pag-answers naman?
It's an anagram. You have to form another word out of these words. You may pass and return if you still have time.
Pass. Oy.
Okay, next word.
You like bananas?
Emoticon.
Means too. Charot lang. Ano
Yes,
yun,
Randolph?
Day?
Emoticon, banana.
Yes, it's emoticon. Correct. 1 point. Next.
Paano nag-emoticon to, girl? Paano nag-emoticon ni? To be- Ketchup!
Yes, Sophia?
Ketchup, ate girl. Banana ketchup.
Captcha.
No. You have to
Captcha.
say the word banana.
Banana.
Yes, Randolph again?
Captcha, banana.
Correct. 2 points.
Thick hog fry. Thick hog fry. Fried banana? Banana Q, day? Or ginaggang?
Oh, ano man?
2 minutes left.
Um, pass na, oy.
Ah. So your last puzzle. Four, three, two, one. Okay, time is up. You got 2 points. Let's go
Yay.
back to the previous puzzle. The answer for this is. Ay, wait. The answer for this is know where you are.
Awoken where you are. Paano na?
For this, what's the answer? The answer is copyright.
Ah,
And for this, the answer is digital citizen. Okay, you have 2 points. Congratulations. For the next group of Dominic, Danica, and Ladi. Are you ready?
Yes po.
Okay. So choose a set. A, B, or D.
D for Dominic.
Set D. Are you ready? Dominic, Danica, and Ladi Ann.
Yes po.
Okay, let's start. Your 5 minutes starts now. The first puzzle is
Lo.
pass. Okay, the next puzzle. Remember, these are words related to netiquette. Four minutes left.
Flaming banana.
Yes, correct. Next. 3 minutes left.
Plagiarism banana.
Correct. Next word.
Hacking banana.
Correct. Next.
Network banana.
Correct. You have isa pa na hindi nyo na-answer. You have 2 minutes left.
OMG. Legibly.
Legibly Union banana.
Pwede clue?
No.
Sobra ka tay may clue na galing ng mga letters mo. Butang ka pa clue. Padaw mo ay galing ni clue.
Malay mo, may clue. Grabe ka kabata.
Union? Legibly Union banana. Sige na, balat eh.
Ano na? Legibly Union.
Legibly Union banana.
4, 3, 2,
Legibly
1. Time is up.
Pwede wow.
So you got 4 correct answers, right?
Of course.
Yes, congratulations. You got 4 correct answers. The answer for this is online bullying. Okay, let's review. The first group got 2 points and the second group got 4 points. So the winner is the second group. Congratulations. Now, after the main activity, we will proceed to the processing questions. So, what words did you learn after the activity? Are you familiar with those terms and how well do you understand those terms? Let's start from group 1. Anyone from group 1? What words did you learn after the activity? What words did you learn after the activity?
Online bullying. Oh yeah.
What else?
Banana.
Are you familiar with those terms, Ken?
Of course.
Plagiarism, copyright, network. Are you familiar with those
Yeah.
words? So
Networking.
how well do you understand those terms?
Yeah, that is why I'm here, ma'am, to learn. I don't have any idea yet. I'm familiar, but I'm not into understanding them.
Randall, what words were mentioned during the activity?
Um, know where you stand. Um,
Or know where you are?
Ay, where you are pala, sorry. And digital citizen, flaming, online bullying. Yeah, yan.
Okay. Are you familiar
And,
with those terms?
well, naka-encounter naman ko sa lab, but I'm not, ano, well, I'm familiar, yeah, but to some words.
Okay. How well do you understand those terms?
Um, man, may nanam, I I understand naman some of the words like their definition and functions, but some kay di ko familiar and I don't know kung ano na siya ng mga words.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. From the next group. Yes, Dominic Portia Maglangit. What words did you learn
I am
after the
quite
activity?
the word that stuck in my mind is plagiarism because
Okay.
I'm not just familiar with it, but I'm very ooh no, I'm very familiar with it since my degree program is communication and media arts. We discuss it in every courses.
Okay. Thank you so much. Laddie,
Yes po.
what words did you learn after the activity?
Hacking, online bullying.
Are you familiar with those terms?
I'm somewhat familiar with those terms because
Okay.
charot. Ay those are the acts that should be prevented po to
Okay,
happen.
yes. Thank you so much. Danica?
Hi again.
Yes.
So, the words that I learned after the activity were hacking, online bullying, and ano pa to? Flaming. Flaming
Flaming,
banana.
okay. Are you familiar with those terms?
I'm not familiar with flaming, but
Okay. with other terms? How about other terms?
I'm familiar with hacking because we tackle this once in a while as
Mm-mm,
a
okay.
finance student. So
Yes.
also online bullying. I think we have we all have our fair share of experiences with online bullying.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, participants, for answering the processing questions. Let's proceed to the lecturate proper. Now, we will discuss the 10 rules of internet etiquette. So, there are 10 rules, and the first rule is to remember the human. So the individuals you connect online are actual people. You should never say anything to someone on the internet that you would not say in person. Keep in mind that online interactions are almost always recorded and archived. So most people online, they encounter online trouble. They experience trouble online with other people, mainly because they easily forget the fact that behind that screen is a person, is a human being just like them. They are more than just profile pictures, they are more than just usernames. They are human beings who have emotions, who have feelings. And what this rule is telling us is that every time we engage with people or with users online, we must always remember that just like us, they are humans. Next is rule number 2, be ethical. So illegal movie streaming, prohibited music downloading, and copyright infringement are still illegal. What we do online, like any other decision makes, has ethical implications. Consider what kind of digital you want to become. So in other words, we have to adhere to the same standards of behavior online that we follow in real life. For instance, 'di ba, the information are available online. What we have to do is that when we wish to acquire the information, we do not acquire them illegally because they are protected by copyright by laws, right? And as ethical online users, we have to follow the standards, the guidelines. Because ethics do not only apply to real life, but it also applies to online. We must always think of what is morally right and at the same time what is lawful. Third rule is know where you are. So the rules of netiquette differ from one website to the next. There is the saying lurk before you leap, and what is acceptable in one setting may not be acceptable in another. For example, Facebook is different from other social media platforms or websites. Mostly in Facebook, we see memes, we see funny videos, we see random posts, but we can't do that on ResearchGate. They provide different information, they are a whole different environment. So it is important to remember to lurk before you leap. First, we have to observe. We have to know the guidelines of that specific website before we engage with people, before we use that website. Next rule is okay, rule 4. Respect other people's time and data limits. So when you post something online, send an email or publish a link, you are wasting other people's time. Think 7 times in creating your messages and sending it to the appropriate individuals. If you're sending something, you should think about how the recipient will obtain. So in posting messages and content online, we must not only consider the quality of the content, but at the same time, the nature of the content. Kasi when people obtain that messages, it will take their time and their bandwidth. For example, the message is short, is very brief, na pwede naman siya i-send through messenger or direct message. instead of sending a Word file, PowerPoint, or PDF, in PDF format of those um, messages, right? And in some instances, if you have announcements na pwede naman din i-convey through messenger, direct message, I don't think there is a need for creating a virtual meeting, Zoom or Gmeet. So we must consider at the same we must consider all the time that the time of our recipient and their data limits. Next, make yourself look good online. First, make sure you're being cautious about what you share. It's best not to share anything that is embarrassing, unlawful, or inappropriate. So, how do we make ourselves look good online? First is spelling and grammar are meaningful in online communication. Content also is the key. Before you post about knowing something, to be sure you actually know what you're talking about. Because aside from real life, we also have an image online. And it is our obligation as online users, and it is a sign of good netiquette to have or to make ourselves look good online. Just like what I have mentioned, we should be particular of our spelling and grammar because it matters. And at the same though grammar is just a construct, spelling and grammar are meaningful because they may cause miscommunication. Okay? And also, just like what is being said here, it is best not to share anything that is embarrassing, unlawful, or inappropriate. Kasi whenever, for example, for work, for companies, there are companies that the HR sometimes do background check of that person and pwedeng gawing pang background check ang yung online image. So, please be careful that what you post, what you share are all appropriate and decent. Hindi siya pagiging pretentious. It's more of being cultured and being educated. Next rule is share expert knowledge. You have something to contribute if you are knowledgeable in a particular field. So you should never post anything deceptive on the internet. So the main benefit, the true benefit of the internet is it gives us information, a pool of information, and it's convenient for everyone. However, we must make sure that the information we get from the internet are verified information. They are expert knowledge, not only on the way we get information, but at the same time also on the way we share information. We have to make sure that we do not post anything deceptive online, or we do not post unverified news, fake stories, false news, because doing so is punishable by law. Okay? Next rule is to keep disagreement healthy. When participating in such a debate, it is critical to show respect for the other participants. Never turn the conversation into a personal one and refrain from using offensive language. It is very widespread across different social media platforms, especially in Facebook, that a lot of people, if not often, they always argue, and the common themes of their argument revolve on politics, religion, and philosophy. So, to keep this agreement healthy, first is we have to acknowledge, we have to recognize the fact that we all have different backgrounds. We were exposed to the world differently. We hold our own versions of truth. And it is not necessarily that we agree with everyone and that everyone will agree with us. What we have to do is to have that to achieve achieve the middle ground And the best way to do that is to agree to disagree. By that, we keep disagreements healthy. Rule number 8, respect other people's privacy. So by sharing any materials that has been made available to you, you must guarantee that you do not violate anyone's wishes. It's also worth noting that you should never use another person's computer, phone, or account without their consent. So the privacy of a person online, it's always at risk, especially those who share too much. Their privacy is always at risk. But them exposing private messages, private information about themselves, maybe they were done by mistake. And remember that when you see them, it is not for you to expose it. It is not for you to disclose it to the world because it's their information unless you have their consent. So rule number 8, respect other people's privacy. Rule number 9, don't abuse your power. So if you are an administrator or facilitator of an online environment, make sure you do not abuse the privileges of access that your position may give you. There are people who get power online, no? These administrators and facilitators, since they have the control of the site, they have control of their page, they have the control of the information about their members, they have the power. Another source of power is that people who have huge followers, have huge supporters, they have this influence, they have this power. But coupled with power and influence is the responsibility that whatever you say, whatever you share, it can affect your viewers, it can affect your subscribers. So if we have this huge followers, we must remember to use our power responsibly, use them to help other people, use them for common good, and never abuse that power. The last rule is be forgiving of other people's mistakes. People will make mistakes when they are new to online environments, and everyone has to start somewhere. So try to be forgiving of others' mistakes. Because online, we make textual messages and a lot of messages in different forms. It is very inevitable to make mistakes. And the least we can do is to forgive them because just like them tayo, pwede din tayo magkamali. It's easy to forgive them if that person owns up to their mistake, apologizes for it, makes up for the mistake, and never ever do it again. That time we can forgive them. But this is case to case basis because there are also mistakes that aren't that easy to forgive. For example, online bullying, harassment, and other issues that are quite heavy, they're not easy to forgive because they possibly pwede sila mag-cause ng trauma to a person, and it's as a victim, it's not easy to forgive them. It's not easy to let it pass because it has a very very huge impact on you. It's the repercussions of it are extreme. So on that case, it's valid if you don't forgive that person because if you wish, you can also seek for legal action towards that. Pero on minor mistakes, let us be forgiving of other people because just like them, just like everyone else, we also commit mistakes. So those are the 10 rules on online etiquette or the 10 rules on etiquette. I hope you have understood those rules. You have learned something from that. Now, let's proceed to open forum. Let's discuss those rules one by one, or if you have questions, you have concerns and comments, please say them so that everyone can hear.
Hi!
Hi.
Kung mahilig ka mag-share ng memes, kailan mo masasabi na sobra na?
Alam mo masasabi na sobra na when you share memes? Sharing memes, Facebook is ano no, is it is an environment kung saan widespread talaga ang memes and it gives personally it gives ano ha, it makes me laugh most of the time and it ano, it gives you that break for that day that you need to ano naman din to pause, you need to laugh. So kapag sobra na if I if I'm not mistaken, Facebook has this regulation when you need to have this regulation on the limits of how many times you can share, right? Pero ang sobra, I think at the assessment for that will be upon the recipients. It's the time kung sa kanila na mismo manggaling that what you share is too much because it's a matter of baka yung content. It's not the quantity of the memes, it's the content. That's why we have to observe political correctness at all times, not to offend other people because there are memes that are quite offensive. And I think when that time comes, doon mo na masasabing sobra na. And it takes critical thinking, I guess, to realize when the limits of sharing memes. Did I answer your
Thank
question?
you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. How do you take care of your mental health while constantly engaging in a toxic online environment? So it's addressed to me. So personally, I limit my time in using social media platforms in exposing myself online. I limit it kasi aside from I have other things to do na mas importante sa paggamit ng social media, at at some point when you do something na in a long period of time that ang impact sa you get distressed, you get anxious of the content of what you see, what you read, what you watch. What I do is I pause. I sometimes do what do you call this? I uninstall my apps. I uninstall my apps and sometimes I delete my accounts because yes, detoxify because at some point, 'di ba? It's ikaw lang din kasi makakasabi when ano na, when you're overfed na din. Ikaw lang din makaka-assess.
I have a follow-up question,
Yes.
Mommy Len.
Yes, Danica.
Why would I leave the group? Anyway, ano, what if uh it's related to your work, like you dealing with a toxic online environment? What if it's related to your work and you can't really avoid it? Do you have any like tips, ate?
Can you ano tawag nito? Explain further so that we get the context.
Like for example, in as part of a progressive student publication
Okay.
in Ateneo, and Ate News has been known to be very, very critical. And there are times
Mm-hmm.
that I am I was the news editor, so I was like required to cover each stories and all. I was even asked to write editorial articles, and sometimes I don't feel comfortable engaging in, a toxic online environment, because it gets very toxic sometimes when it's too political. But I have no choice but to like work. Do you have any tips, ate, to like help me?
Okay. There is this approach in psychology that we believe that in everything we do, we always have a choice. Okay? So it's for you to choose. It's your call to choose whether to continue or not. And before deciding, you must weigh things up. You must consider, just like what I have said kanina, before posting you have to think 7 times, at least 7 times before posting something. So kasi it's a big decision to make, no, on your part. So you have to think it through. Consider other factors. Ano, what will happen if I do this? What will happen if I don't do this? And if things get too messy, if things get too overwhelming, the first and the very important um coping is to rest, is to rest or to step back. You can always go back to that naman. It depends upon your arrangements with them. But when you are so tired, when you feel like you are very burdened, you put that burden down and you rest. It's very important and it's very applicable to any situation, no? So did I answer your question, or you have follow-up questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Ate Len.
Yes. Who else? Sino pa may tanong? So we can discuss. Actually, I am also encouraging other
Dominic has a
participants
question.
to answer, to
Dominic
answer
Portia has a
if you have
question.
anything to say. Okay, Dominic, Portia.
I just want to ask because social media is part and parcel of our lives, and we cannot not communicate without social media given the
Yes.
current situation. Um, I just want to ask, what's your tip to people like me who wants to detoxify yet disconnecting means like disconnecting is not option. So what are your tips po to
Okay.
people like me
Just
who
like,
wants to detoxify yet I cannot disconnect.
okay. So just like what I have mentioned kanina, we are in the middle of pre and post digital age. And since we were born, our generation, technology was already there. Hindi lang siya hindi lang siya part, it's it's more than just a part of us. It's a pa- uh it's a part of us already. And we can never do away with it because communication is very essential. I think we have to reassess that Maslow's hierarchy of needs does not the primary needs of a person does not only include food, water, shelter, clothing. Also, we must include communication because it is very, very important. We cannot live without communication, especially at this time. However, if you wish to detoxify but you don't have the choice, it's very difficult to it's very difficult to remove something you need. It's very difficult to run away from something that makes you feel alive or helps for something that makes your routines flow, right? I think just like what I have said, it's your call. It's your call if you have to continue or not. Kasi i-assess mo ang situation, you weigh things up also. Kasi kung wala, kasi yung goal mo talaga is to detoxify, to get rid of them. I think intermittent rests and pause can help you. Hindi naman kailangan agad-agad na tanggalin. Little by little, you you pause from doing that. Babalik ka na naman after some time. And if you practice that, that can be a coping skill which might help you. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, yes. And while
Okay,
you
thank you so much. Yes?
um I have a manifestation. Siguro
That
we also need to manage our time well, like um give time for social media and for other things so that we will not get too overwhelmed with what's happening on social media. And that would be less toxic on our part.
exactly. Just like the one rule sa 10 rules of netiquette, respect other people's time time and data limits. As you respect their time, respect also your time. Okay. Who else? Sino pa po may tanong? Let's read messages. Okay. Or who has something to share? Danica?
I have an insight siguro.
Okay.
My personal experiences because uh for the past must say year I've been really struggling to balance my academics, my curricular, and then my business because everything has been transitioned into online. So I tried my best to detoxify because it's a fact that social media has become very toxic and political, and sometimes you just want to leave and then refresh. But for me, in my case, it's nearly impossible because I have an online store, an online business, and then my my curricular responsibilities are being done online, and as well as my academics, my classes. Sometimes my professors would leave out information and details through Facebook. So as much as I want to deactivate my Facebook, I can't because everything is in there. So what I did was I tried to create another Facebook account, but it really didn't work. I think the best thing siguro na na to do to help us manage our time in like a setting like this, it's okay, very naman jud siya, very exhausting, and sometimes overwhelming siya. Most of the times overwhelming siya kay do na separate naman good ang time to rest and time to work. I mean, murag na blur na ang line kung asa ta mag-rest and then asa ta mag-work, asa ta maghatag og quality time sa atong self. So, mo to, murag, I suggest na same siguro same with Heaven nagiingon nagihambal gali nga we should really learn how to make time for ourselves. Sorry, nagbisaya. Sorry. Bitaw. We really
Siya di
need to
magbisaya, day.
settle our times. Sorry kay nag-chat abi ang ako nga other group chat na transition. Sorry, sorry. Kung siguro i-clarify naton ang line. Kung when ta mag-rest, when ta mag ang ginapaglaban ko naman dito is to make time for ourselves. Like, hindi magpadala sa pressure sa academics naton kag sang katatabo sa online. Because after all, there is life beyond social media, beyond digitalization. So, let's not forget to reconnect with our families, like what's happening in real life. Kay, amo to siya. Cute daw ang Ilonggo. Thank you. Oh, joke. Sige. Goodbye. That's all, Ate Len.
Okay, thank you very much, Danica, for sharing. Who else has questions or anything to share?
Maghunos dili ka, Danica.
Kenneth, you have anything to share? Okay, who else? Sino award ginamin mo? Ako. Ako, I don't have questions naman for you. I love to hear your story.
Miss Sophia raised her hand.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sophia,
I want to share
moderator.
something and I also want to ask a question kung tama ba yung ginawa ko. There
Okay.
was once na, di ba sa Messenger, you can turn off your notifications and turn on. Pero kung online ka, mag-pop up pa rin siya, di ba? Pero hindi lang siya ng, like, yung chat heads ma-off mo. Tapos there was once na may nag-chat sa akin na nag-offer about taking the position for something. Tapos, I don't have the energy to take responsibility. So, for maybe 20 minutes I did not open the message pero na basa ko and then when I check the messenger again unsent na siya so which is okay naman na hindi na ako nag-reply, hindi ba rude na hindi na ako nag-ask kung ano yon.
Okay. Just like what I have said kanina, online interaction is a ground for a lot of mistakes nga because we only send textual messages in textual form, right? We only send textual messages habang hindi nila tayo nakikita eye to eye ng ating kausap, and it's a barrier in communication. So in your case, is it okay? You are asking if again?
If I'm asking if okay lang ba na hindi na ako nag-reply doon sa unsent na message niya.
Yes. For me, it's a personal take. Yes, it's very okay. It's all right if you did not reply, if you will never reply to that person, because it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to satisfy or to answer to that person. Kasi siya yung nag-reach out, siya yung may intention. That means that person needs something from you. And if you were not able to reply, if you were not able to provide what that person needs, it's totally, totally fine.
Yes,
Did I
thank you.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Because it's bothering me if rude ba na gisin ko na lang na hindi na ako nag-ask kung ano yung kailangan niya. Kahit na alam ko naman na kung ano talaga yon. Hindi niya naman
You know
nakita
what?
na
Okay, okay. You know what? Regarding the topic, we were taught by our professor, I think it's first year, that a person who cannot accept, for example, yung reply is K, yung reply is like, yung reply, or gisin ka lang, or never ka gisin, tapos you get angry, you get frustrated about that, it's a sign of poor mental health, no? Because if we are satisfied, if we are secure about ourselves, we do not easily get angry, we do not easily get frustrated just because of rejection. Kasi it's a form of rejection. Kung hindi ka kung hindi ka nireplyan or nireplyan ka ng short or ang reply sa'yo are the replies you did not wish to receive. It's it's totally fine. And it's just like what I have said, yung hindi mo pag-accept ng response ng ibang tao towards you, it's a sign of poor mental health because you are not secure about yourself.
Yes,
Ate,
thank
Yes,
you very much.
Howard.
may question ko.
Wait lang, Kenneth ha. Si Howard na. Yes,
Ay,
Howard.
sige, go. Nasiyawan.
Gusto ko lang i-validate si Pia because being around people na very careful man around, with their behavior online, I think that Pia's response is really valid because we all have our pieces online if we want to respond or not. Like, it's on us, and I think that people should. I don't know if I'm right, but I think people should not antagonize other people for not responding or responding too late because again, we all have our paces, and yeah, we all have our paces to respond or not.
Okay. Thank you, Howard. But as we validate yung behavior ni Pia, yung response ni Pia sa tao, which is non-response, as we validate that, we also validate the feelings and emotions of that person. Kapag nagalit siya, okay, we validate, we accept that your emotions are valid, galit ka. What's invalid is after he did that, for example, nag nagalit siya sa'yo, he sent or they sent you messages, yung behavior niya towards you is very inappropriate, that's the time na hindi na valid. Kasi all our emotions, they are all valid, but what makes the situation difficult is how we react to our emotions. Our behaviors, they make the emotion invalid. Who else has questions?
Ako, ate
I
ko
have a
pong singsing.
question.
Yes, Ken. Wait lang,
Ate
Nick.
ko pong singsing. May question ko, ma'am.
Yes po.
Seryoso? Makadaanin ko. Now, do you believe that online games can change ng emotion? Ay, nung napansin ko dati nung nagampang ako sa online games god, like Mobile Legend, dali lang ko maugot. Yahaw, ano naman.
Okay. So you have
Mabatian ko?
change in... Oo, yes, we hear you. May change sa regulation mo sa emotion.
Oh, yes po.
Hmm.
Ate ko pong singsing. May kanyang tempukan.
Kasi our personality, our attitudes, hindi sila permanent. They change over time. This week, iba ang attitude mo. The next week, iba naman. Because of certain factors, and one of them is the environment. I think it's the environment of the online games because I'm not at what do you call this? I'm not familiar with online gaming, but I think it's the environment that online gaming has that made you change your emotions, your feelings. Oo, it can impact. It can impact you. Do you have follow-up question?
Thank you, ate ko pong
So, true
singsing.
lang. May question ko.
Yes, Danica.
Okay.
Oh, ano naman, Ken? Since we're talking about the ticket one lang, so, Ate Len, do you think ghosting is acceptable?
Please give us context.
Like for example, sa common, hindi man siya trend, like do ano na siya subong common siya sa among people karon kay, 'di ba? Ano nang nag-build sila sa relationships online. They're starting to build relationship online. Mostly ni sa mga young adults and then sa mga teens gihapon. And then sa context siguro, okay lang ba nag-invest ka so much time and then gaga ka, Kent. Sorry. Wait lang. Na-distract ko. Nag-invest ka so much time sa person, like mutual investment good siya. Sige ka, chat and all. And then all of a sudden, biyaan ka na like, hindi ka na i-replyan and all.
Can
Anyways,
I
it's okay.
answer?
Yes, Heaven.
I guess that's with Danica's example, that's the weakness of communication in terms of digital communication, because digital eros or digital love, yes, it is valid and sometimes it becomes real, but we do not have the power to possess what the other speaker really wants to say, since we are only limited to our screens. We cannot see their reactions while saying those messages. We cannot see their nonverbal cues and others. So, but I guess ghosting, sometimes people do ghosting because that's their way, that's they do not know how to cut ties immediately, eh. And it also goes back to their trauma and other childhood things. That's why they just go and they do not cut ties formally.
But what if this ghosting coping mechanism causes trauma or inflicts trauma to another person? How do we deal with that?
That's the time when we draw the line. No,
How do we draw?
you are asking because your concern is that the the emotion you have what do you call this? Invested was not reciprocated, right?
Not really reciprocated, but at least closure, like just say goodbye, like just for closure. Disclaimer ha, hindi ni siya personal experience.
Okay.
Kasi ate, it would seem to be unfair if like mawala ka lang na parang bula. Like, it's okay man if ayaw. Just tell the person, di ba, na ayaw para di siya mabilin sa ere. Good. You get me ate, feel ko. Basta mo to siya, am I making sense? Wala
Duga
kang kabalo.
contradict abi sa gihambal ko kay inate. Ano ko 'di
Ano
ba?
yan? Bato kayo na? Ay, di
We
bato kayo
kapag
na,
ang
di ba?
hindi magga-contradict siya sa gihambal ko. Ako ang gihambal ko ba kay ina kay Pia, na kung ang tao hindi
Oo.
mag-reply, valid. 'Di ba? I said that. Kapag ang tao kapag ang
Pero,
tao mag-seen,
let's
valid.
base
It's
sa,
it's
sa context.
you're
So,
right.
right, sa intention. Like, kay Piabe daw, all of the sudden, di ba, itong approach. What if, like, in this case, good na, hala, abi mo, uyab na ka mo, abi mo yung something na, tapos,
I
wala naman
guess
Nag-nudge.
nagbago.
you need to clarify. You need to clarify
Case-to-case
ano
basis.
talaga, so that nobody will assume, nobody, yes, there will, may ma-hurt talaga, but at least you know what, yes, oh my God. But you need to, I guess you need to clarify the intention so that you will not have miscommunication, and if ever that person tries to leave, then you know in yourself, okay, that's why that person left. Ganon. I guess I agree with the word that it all boils down to
Well,
intention.
to intention. Thank you so much, Miss Dominic Portia. That was very insightful.
Okay. Ako naman, okay, ganito. I made up my mind. Kasi it's also a matter of what kind of attachment you have with people outside or other than the relationship you have with that person na nag-ghost sa'yo. Because we have this concept of secure attachment. Kasi if your attachment is secure, kahit iwan ka ng tao, if that person leaves, okay lang sa'yo. It won't be that big deal. Siyempre, it's an automatic response na masaktan, maka-feel ng galit, but hindi siya magstay. Hindi ka mag-dwell sa ganong emotions. Kasi when you are secure, 'di ba? It's okay if this person does not it's okay if this person will not chat me anymore. It's okay if this person hindi ibalik yung binigay ko. Kasi I can get naman the same level and degree of love, the same level and degree of attachment and affection from other people, from my friends, from my family. So you have to assess kasi maybe your background, your upbringing, the attachment you have with your family and friends, even those were not secure. That's why the time na hindi nabigay or na meet yung expectations mo, you felt sad, you felt angry. Yes, Al, it's the quality of attachment is correct. But again, if you felt those emotions, it's still valid. It's still valid. Kasi before, eto na lang, I will share something to you. Kasi before you enter a relationship, you have to be whole. Dapat isa, whole, buo. And just like I heard it in a podcast that love, entering a relationship is like rules of multiplying fractions. Because when you are whole and the other person is whole, 1 times 1 is equal to 1. It's still buo. It's still whole. Kapag half, half ka kapag hindi ka buo and the other person is buo, if you mag-combine kayo, that means one half, right? May mababawasan, may mawawala, may matatanggal. And kung kayo naman dalawa hindi buo, one half times one half equals 1/4, right? Imbes na may isang buo, dalawa pa kayo ang nabawasan. So before we enter in a relationship, before we get attached to that person, we have to be secure of ourselves, we have to be secure of our emotions. Dapat bago pumasok, dapat buo. Okay,
I
did I answer the
agree.
question?
Agree ko ate ko pong sing-sing.
Yes, Van.
I agree with what you said because if a person in a relationship is not buo, if he or she has something missing within himself or herself, then he or she will try to find it sa partner niya. He will try to, parang he will push or pressure his partner na ma-fill in yung kulang, and that's where toxicity begins, I guess.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Sa true lang.
Um, how do we deal with
No DLM.
how do we deal with fake news peddlers? I mean, because I think we see man today that fake news peddlers or trolls are very fixated in their, stands. So how do we address that, or how do we mend ways?
We just shut them off. Charot. Just kidding.
Then he has a
Shoot
point,
etiquette.
actually.
Mateke.
I mean, if
Or it
ano
should
nga,
okay.
like iset ta nga ano nga hindi dapat like ma-shot lang sila. Like what other ways can we think of? I
May I answer?
Okay, Danica, you go.
So, can I answer? Okay, after Danica.
I think the
Go.
first step in dealing with fake news peddlers is like let's first communicate with them and try to reach out to them and educate them. Not really educate, but like talk to them, have a dialogue with them. But the problem here is if they don't want to listen to you or what you have to say or what you have to bring into their table and help them, then I think it's no longer your job to, press yourself. Kasi hindi yan sila, if people choose who they want to, people choose who they want to listen to. So sometimes there are tendencies that despite of how hard you try to tell them or share with them what's real with verified information, they would believe. For example, siguro pinaka relevant na example is yung sa vaccines. Some people they don't want to get vaccinated because they believe the circulating news na about 666 nanobox, and we can't really blame them if like they don't know or they choose to believe that kasi uh, no, wala silang, some people really don't have kanang access or don't, there are people na may access pero di pud sila di nila gani gusto gid i-hear out do amo sa na ang thought. And ikaw smart mo na you just want to reach out and tell them tapos ma-shut off ka pa sometimes ma-result pa gani sa ad hom or hikayan ka pa and all. Sa part mo it's no longer healthy, so the best way to deal with them if ana na ang case is to shut them off. Like ana, you tried your best man to help them. You tried your best, 'di ba? So, amo lang to. That's what I think based on my
Okay.
experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Danica. Heaven, you have something to say?
I think them up is not the right thing to do. Since, in her example, she talked about vaccination and how some people are hesitant to get vaccinated. I guess this is where communication experts come in, specifically health communication experts, because it is their job to change the attitude and behavior of people towards um towards towards certain issues through framing of messages, message campaigns, interventions. Yes, but if on a personal level, when you're encountering people like that, I guess after you educate them and they won't listen, I guess it's time to leave the conversation. You do not need to their point be validated by them because at the end of the day, they will never listen, even if you have a lot of sources, reference, all those things. So yeah, I guess to leave that discussion and let other experts handle people who are hesitant of certain things. Yes.
Yes, I do agree
I,
with Heaven.
I
But
have a question. If okay lang.
Yes, Ward.
Um
Yes, ate ka pong
having
singsing.
having that all said, do you think like with the time we have now and all the participation of people in social media and their fixation on on those things, on those information and ideas, do you think that their behavior can still be changed? That's a stupid question, but I want to
Yes,
know
it,
if
Yes.
personally,
Very.
yes.
yes, yes. Yeah, because there
Oh.
are communication goals. For example, you say you want to change the behavior and attitudes of people in a span of 3 months, of 2 months. You can do that with intervention, given that you have strategic planning and you considered everything.
I do agree with Heaven. I think it's possible.
Oo. In psychology, there is this behavioral approach when we try to modify, when we try to alter the the non-essential behaviors of that person that may that that may affect his well-being, the people around him or them. There are ways to change the behavior of people. Pero just if I sum up the responses of Danica and Heaven on how to deal with fake news peddlers, what everyone needs is education. No? If we get to be informed of how we use social media, of how we share information, if how we verify how we verify news, I think we won't have problem with fake news.
I agree, Ate Len, but some people, despite of how much you try to like help them, you know, become aware and be educated. I don't usually use that term. Some people really don't accept kasi facts. Like they choose what they want to believe. So amo lang to siya. I think it's the hard part of trying to communicate with fake news peddlers and trying to reach out to them. It's whether they accept or not your points.
Okay. Yes, it's very important, especially if that person is hesitant, no, to get educated. But on your part, at least you tried, and the attempt to educate them, to awaken them is a good start.
Yes, and if it's hurting your mental health, no, it's not worth your mental health,
Oo.
kid. Like
Prioritize yourself and your
we
mental
are
health.
very prone to ad hom attacks. Lalo na in social media and in Facebook. We are very prone to ad hom attacks. So if it's bothering you na, it's affecting you mentally and emotionally, matuhambal ni Heaven na it's time for you to leave the conversation. You know, we just have to choose our battles wisely because ang energy nato dapat siya i-conserve.
Exactly. Yes, Heaven.
I am okay now with that. Agree. I just want to add that um, that's why some people are hesitant when you educate them on social media because they also take into consideration their upbringing, their environment, because judgments and their stands depend on the people around them. Yes.
True kaayo. I mean like I think it's better no if ever it's better to like reach out to them privately muna. Kasi if your approach is to like directly confront them on like comment section or social media, they would take it siguro as an offense. Mostly they would take it as an offense na mura mo sila ano mo bala sila gina-down mo sila kay amo na naman nila. So it's better. But I think mas effective if like private conversation, private kamo mag-dialogue if possible.
Yes, exactly. If we go back to one of the rules on etiquette, they are said na dapat we keep disagreements healthy, no? Because kaya ka sabi ko, we came from different backgrounds and upbringing, then that may influence our philosophies, our outlook in life. And again, I repeat, hindi natin mapi-please lahat to believe us. Hindi din nila tayo lahat mapi-please to believe in them. So we have to reach that middle ground where we agree to disagree with each other.
Well said, Mamilen.
Moving on, we will now have the after the ellipsis. It's a wrap-up activity. And here are 15 phrases you have to complete. Okay? So you have to pick one phrase and complete it based on our discussion, based on our lecture, our activities. Who wants to go first? Come share.
Sabak kat uy. Sige, sige. I enjoyed number 6. I enjoyed listening
Okay,
to all the questions and ideas. Yeah.
that's it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll come share. Who wants to go next?
Most important concept that we discussed today was, I think, about sa emotions. Charot. Kay,
Why?
balik ko na naman tong ako nga nang ma-feel karon. Like, that I should, limit because it constantly changing my emotional. Kaya dati abi, hindi ko amasini, tapos ang patience ko, amasina. So, may na-learn ko dai about sa amasina.
Okay. Thank you so
Comfort na.
much.
Okay na.
Yes, Ven.
Pretty
Dominic
gapon.
Portia.
The thing we did in class today that best fit my learning style was the open forum because I learn more when people ask and somebody answers. I think it makes the conversation it puts the conversation on another level and I like it so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dominic Portia. Next. Yes, Sophia.
The thing that made the most sense to me today was the rule about respecting other people's time and data limit.
Okay, thank you so much. Next.
Ako,
Yes, Ward. Howard.
the one thing the facilitator did today that did not work well on me was, charot, hindi, hindi. Um, ano man, wala pa, I'm undecided. An idea that is still going around my head is how do we reconcile how do we reconcile different, you know, psychological our behaviors online of other people.
Okay, thank you so much. Next. Ladi.
Oh my gosh. Napili lang no.
Apo.
Um, I enjoyed how you shared your thoughts and learnings to us, and I have learned so much today about the etiquette in social media. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ladi Ann. And Randolph.
um, I enjoy the discussion today, especially the open forum since everyone is nang open sa ilang ideas and insights. So, ayan.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, participants, for your responses, for your participation during this training activity. And I hope you have learned a lot from today, which you hopefully you will be using in real life as we go on with life. No? And we must always remember that technology and internet, they have given us so much beautiful things. They have made our lives easier. But at the end of the day, we remember that there is more to life than social media, internet, and technology. Above all, mental health. So that's it. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you, Len.
Thank you,
Teacher
Lord.
Dylan.